The forgotten prodigy of the Sonic series, Silver the Hedgehog is one of the prominent characters in the Sonic series, but Sega seems to have forgotten him. Sega doesn't seem to appreciate who he is. He still has fans. Sega doesn't want to put him in the spotlight like Sonic and Shadow. So this case study, we're going to figure out why that is. Why is Silver being neglected compared to his Hedgehog counterparts? For those of you who watched my the Armadillo case study, we're going to be following the same type of rules. So no media, no sources from the Archie comics and the IDW comics. Are going to be focusing more on Silver's game connections, so his ties to the game. We're going to be getting information from that. We're going to be doing some research on who Silver is. So we're going to run through who Silver is, his description, personality, abilities, any relationships that he has in the franchise. And then we're going to go into his game appearances, highlighting some of the important ones, and talking about the side game appearances. Hopefully that can shed some light on why Silver is so neglected and not one of the main characters in the Sonic series. Then we're going to hop into the history, his backstory, the timeline. I know Sega Japan, they recently dropped a new timeline, and it addresses not all, but a lot of the events in the Sonic series. And we're going to be going over that. Then we're going to be addressing some lore around Silver, his character, why he is the way he is. Then we're going to go into the deeper question of why Silver is neglected and why is he not being part of the main cast. He's always being portrayed as a side character, always being portrayed as like a unlockable character, even though we know he was made for so much more. And then we're going to go on the recommendations and solutions on how do we think we can fix this and like what ideas we can come up with. Hopefully we can find some things I didn't know before. Silver is actually kind of growing on to me. As I was doing this research, I'm like, dang, I can't mess with Silver, bro. I didn't like Silver like that before. Like I didn't dislike him or anything. I was just neutral to him. But he's starting to grow on me. So I'm gonna drop the sources like the last case that we did. I'm gonna drop the sources in the description of the video. So I found, unlike the Mighty case study, I found a ton of information on Silver. At least Silver, they actually acknowledge him, but Mighty, they just want to get completely rid of him. So I found some good information on Silver. Again, I'm using the same website as last time for the Mighty case study, the Sonic Retro website, and a couple others like Fandom, Sonic Fandom. But yeah, I'll link those in the description if you guys want to see them. But yeah, let's hop into this. So a little description of Silver the Hedgehog. He's a recurring character in the Sonic the Hedgehog games and related media. Introduced to the Sonic series in the 15th anniversary Sonic the Hedgehog game in 2006, or what we like to call Sonic 06. Silver comes from a hellish future several centuries hence, where Sonic's world has been consumed by the flames of disaster. The Hedgehog has powerful psychokinetic abilities that enable him to survive in the harsh wasteland of Crisis City. Already from the jump, he's like a Dragon Ball Z character. Trunks comes from a destroyed future, trying to make a change in the past so his future can be more bright. So they obviously got some inspiration from that, from what I see. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. So I'm on the Sonic Retro website. We're going to check some more of his character conceptions, personality, and traits. So some personality and traits. Again, I'm on the Sonic Retro website. So although his impressive powers made him a formidable fighter, Silver can often come across as naive and unsure of himself. In Sonic 06, his debut and most major role, Silver relies heavily on his friend Blaze the Cat for guidance and support, traits which allow him to be manipulated by Mephiles the Dark. And that's some lore we're going to get into later in this case study. Nevertheless, Silver is committed to making the future, and he lives in a better and safer place. From prosecuting an endless fight against Iblis to diving into the past with the timeline story, and much like Sonic and Dr. Eggman, Silver has his own mad scientist Argnemus in the form of Dr. Eggman Nega. Alright, I did not know about that. Hopefully YouTube doesn't flag me for what I just said. I don't know, bro, because when I first heard that name as a kid, bro, I had to turn the volume down, bro. I was not trying to get in trouble with my parents. Silver isn't as fast as a runner as Sonic or Shadow, but he has the ability to fly, at least in cutscenes, using his psychokinetic powers to lift himself. Players of Sonic 06 could use Silver's flight to warp quickly over short distance and glide slowly over longer ones. Silver can also use the standard homing attack, and spin dash in the Rivals game, as well as super transformations in 06. Sonic Rivals 2, Silver's PK ability is shown to fade with overuse. If it runs out, it becomes physically drained to the point where it can hardly move. Issues remedied by simply collecting a huge amount of rings. But yeah, I mean, Silver to me, he just seems like not another Sonic per se, but he's more of a protagonist. Unfortunately, the game he was featured in, as we're gonna get into later in the case study, wasn't favorited by a lot. Personally, I think Sonic 06 has one of the best stories in the Sonic series. It was horribly executed in terms of the gameplay, but we'll get into that later. But it seems like Silver is just like a main protagonist, just trying to do what's right, more onto like the lines of Sonic in terms of personality. You're just born into a future that was like burned up. So I mean, obviously that's gonna make you more naive. It's gonna make you want to save it and just take any other option. So I could see why he fell for any tricks that Mephiles came upon him. But seems like a good guy, to be honest. Let's get into his abilities. Alright, so Silver's primary powers are his psychic abilities, which let him manipulate the environment around him with the power of his mind. His main application of this skill is psychokinesis, which lets him control physical objects using telekinesis, and has a broad range of applications. A master with this skill, Silver can telekinetically grab and move up to several objects, many times his own size and weight, as both a single or collective mass, as demonstrated by his Meteor Smash attack when he forms a compressed ball of objects over 20 times his own size, which could potentially weigh a net total of several tons. I believe we saw that in the Sonic Generations game. He can also use his psychokinesis on himself to allow himself to levitate and fly at immense speeds, rivaling Sonic's running speed. Silver's psychokinesis is also able to apply immense strength. With it, he can exert enough pressure to bend a thick steel bar, crush robots with a single telekinetic grab, and immobilize the movements of someone as strong as Sonic completely. Likewise, when repelling objects with his psychokinesis, Silver can do it with enough force and speed to crush metal, or send his grab target flying tremendous distances, and even stun enormous monsters such as Iblis. Additionally, Silver can use his psychokinesis to grab onto certain non-solid objects, such as fireballs and certain types of energy blasts. Offensive usages aside, Silver can also use his psychokinesis defensively by creating barriers of psychokinetically bend light. Dang, bro, he stacked with his powers, bro, that are strong enough to block a 0.5% energy blast from the Eclipse Cannon. Silver can also use his psychokinesis to channel pure psychic energies that he can manipulate into energy-based attacks, such as sharp blades that he can fire at opponents. Alternatively, he can use 3 energies to greatly charge his already impressive telekinetic throwing range. He can also use these energies to freeze or shock enemies, namely by creating close-range bursts of energy that can paralyze his targets, or even energy shockwaves that strike all targets around him. In addition, Silver is very creative with his psychokinesis, as he can telekinetically arrange different everyday objects into various conglomerated shapes as more effective means of attacking, such as giant balls to bowl over opponents and train-sized battering rams. Also, when letting loose, Silver can manipulate everything around him. Yo, this dude sound like a credit character, bro. Like, already off the jump, I'm putting him up there with Sonic and Shadow in terms of strength. Like, he seems like he's already on a level beyond a lot of the characters. But yeah, I think that's how Sega wanted it to be. I think Sega always wanted to make the Hedgehogs the strongest. That's why there's like Sonic, Silver, Shadow, the 3 S's. Amy's also a Hedgehog, but I mean, I don't know what they're doing with that. I mean, I think she was just meant to be the female counterpart to Sonic. But I don't know. But Silver, he's definitely up there. So I'm starting to be confused on like why Silver is not being promoted like Sonic and Shadow. Offensive usages aside, Silver can apply his psychic powers to his other abilities. He has, for example, the power of ESP that grants him limited telepathy, but only enough to induce limited vertigo in others. He can also use his psychic powers to teleport himself over short distances instantaneously by warping space. Alright, the teleportation, that's Shadow's thing, bro. Don't start stealing skills, bro. I had never seen Silver teleport once in my life, bro. There's no way. Nah, he trying to steal Shadow's float. We ain't gonna let that happen. Psychic abilities aside, Silver possesses impressive physical abilities too. Notably, he's able to run at super speed, reaching those of Sonic and Shadow without wearing down. Nah, bro. I mean, Silver is fast, but he's not as fast as Sonic and Shadow. He might be slower than Knuckles, bro, if I'm being real. I don't think this dude can fly as fast as Sonic, but I don't think he can run as fast. I think he's kind of slow. Although he is still not as fast as Sonic, he also has incredible physical durability and endurance. During the Time Eater incident, he withstood several hits from Sonic's homing attack, slid along the ground for long distances without harm, and even survived being buried by his own meteor smash attack. In addition, Silver is also shown to have impressive agility and acrobatic skills, enough to let him move gracefully through mid-air, both with and without the aid of his psychokinesis. Do unique tricks and movements while in mid-air, pull out various spin attack maneuvers at high speed, and grind whales with ease. He also has lightning fast reflexes and senses, being able to mimic and cope with approximately even Sonic's speedy movements. Additionally, he can do amazing feats as well, being able to catch objects moving through mid-air at high velocities, such as bullets and missiles, with his psychokinesis. Silver also possesses above average physical strength, being capable of pushing things several times bigger and heavier than himself. Silver also has demonstrated the ability to harness Chaos and Emerald energy for his own use. With a Chaos Emerald, Silver can perform the Chaos-powered Chaos Control and occasionally gain a boost in power. His usage of Chaos Control is not at Shadow's level, but is stronger than most. Yeah, so Shadow seems to be the strongest with the Chaos Control powers. Silver is also able to perform the spin attack, a technique where he curls into a concussive ball or cutting disc and directs himself at his targets. With it, Silver can shatter a barrel through just about any substance, giving enough speed. Adept in his usage, Silver can utilize several variants of the spin attack for both ground and aerial maneuvers, including spin dash, spin jump, and homing attack. Alright, so this dude is basically like Sonic, which is like just with psychic powers and just a little bit slower. But I mean, I like the psychic powers. It makes him more unique. It makes him different than Shadow and Sonic. So it gives him like his own unique personal take. In combat, Silver relies heavily on his psychic powers and using the environment to his advantage, unlike most other characters who utilize close combat. Silver focuses on long range attacks while fighting. Silver constantly keeps his distance as he tends to concentrate for an attack, which leaves him open. If an opponent does get too close, however, he can grab them telekinetically and throw them away. Aside from that, Silver's main method of attack involves him throwing the objects around him at his foes. Occasionally, he can also rearrange those objects into conglomerated shapes as a more effective means of attacking. If projectiles are shot at him, Silver can grab them telekinetically and throw them back at the opponent, effectively allowing him to turn his opponent's power against him. When times call for it, though, Silver is also capable of going on to the offensive with hand-to-hand combat. However, his proficiency with his type of combat is unclear. He has only demonstrated a limited range of punches and spin attack maneuvers. Silver can travel through time, both via the use of Chaos Control and with mysterious portals that only appear when things in the past go AWire. Silver's main power is the psychokinesis, the ability to manipulate the environment around him with the power of his mind. Whenever using his psychokinesis, Silver and the targets he affects get surrounded in a cyan aura. With it, Silver can telekinetically lift, throw, hold, and move objects for people easily, and even immobilize enemies. With enough focus, he can even catch multiple targets at once. He can also form constructs out of psychokinetic energies, like lassos and force fields for protection and encasing targets. Silver can also use his psychokinesis himself, therefore allowing him to hover and fly. Additionally, Silver mentions being able to use Chaos Control to warp targets, though he knows that his more skill and ability with them. Alright, some of this stuff might be from the comics. But I mean, all I know is that he got the transformations. He can use Super Silver, so he can use the power of the Chaos Emeralds to go super, like Sonic and Shadow, and some other characters that we see in the series. I mean, I don't know if I need to mention this. But it talks about the weaknesses here. So I guess we can dive into a little bit of that. Silver loses focus when using psychokinesis if he's caught off guard or hit by a surprise attack. Also, Silver does have a limit to how much weight he can carry while using his psychokinesis, with his maximum being around dozens of tons. Alright, bro, that's not, I mean, that limit is like pretty high, bro, but I mean, what else would you need, bro? That's enough. Attempting to carry more than he can handle strains his concentration to the extent they can feel extreme pain. Also, letting his thoughts get distracted weakens his concentration and therefore his psychokinesis. In addition, if he overuses psychokinesis, Silver can become extremely fatigued and will need rings to regain his energy. Silver can be narrow-minded and easily tricked. While his psychokinetic powers can hold a vast amount of stuff, Silver does have a limit to how many objects he can hold in psychokinetic grip. He also has trouble telekinetically grabbing multiple targets at once. over greater distances with psychokinesis and must concentrate greatly in order to pull off such a feat. He similarly cannot telekinetically grab targets that move too fast for him to focus on. Alright, so he's not busted. He can't just grab you straight up. If you're fast enough and he can't concentrate on you, then he can't grab you. So we see a little bit of that. We see a little bit of insight. So from what I read just now, it seems like Silver is on par, like in terms of physically and his power scaling. He seems to be on par with Sonic and Shadow. So we see that he has the capabilities and the abilities to be as strong as them. I wouldn't say as fast as them. I think Sonic and Shadow still clear him in speed, but he has the ability to fly at supersonic, but he has the ability to fly at Sonic speeds. So he seems like he's a very capable fighter. He's a very capable character. He's got a good bag. He's got utilities. He got things he can pull out. But yeah, he seems like he can fight, bro. So I don't know, like, he's not weak. He's unique. He's the only character in this series that has psychokinesis and telepathy. So in terms of him not being unique, that's not the case. He has his own bag. He has his own tools and his tool set that he can use to his advantage. There's one ability that I came across during my research, and it was in a game called Sonic Runners, and it was called ESP Silver. So let's read a little description of that. I did not know about this. I only thought Silver could transform to Super Silver. I didn't know that there's the ESP form. But ESP Silver is a transformation that appears in the Sonic the Hedgehog series. He is an alternate version of Silver the Hedgehog from before the events of the Solaris incident were erased, achieved by the enlightenment and discovering his true potential. ESP Silver does not differ vastly in appearance from his base form. As such, he is Silver. The main difference between ESP Silver and his base form is the prominent psychokinetic aura that surrounds it at all times, giving his entire appearance more aqua hue. Alright, so ESP Silver seems to be a little bit more stronger than base Silver. I think in the research I read that ESP Silver is obtained by him having some self-realization and self-realization and transformation of his past, and it just helped him to unlock some abilities that were hidden that he didn't know that he had before. So I'm not sure. It's only released in Sonic Runners, and I don't think Sonic Runners is canon to the Sonic series. I think it's just a side game that you can play on your phone. I remember having it on my phone. I played that joint like 2015. I don't know. They haven't brought this back. Obviously it's there. It was in the game, so I'm going to cover it. So it's there. The ESP Silver is always a thing that they could pull out, but as for now, it hasn't been pulled out lately, or maybe that's said in other forms. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, Silver's got some abilities. He got some skill sets that he can use to his advantage, and he has some things that can make him more unique. Or it makes him more unique, and it puts him in a higher scaling compared to the other characters. So he has potential to have his own story. He has unique abilities. He has skill sets. He has things that are interesting about him that people would like to see. So it wouldn't be a boring story or anything. He has aspects of him that make him enjoyable to watch. So that's all we have from the personalities and abilities description. That's all I got from the research. But yeah, I think we should hop into our next section. So let's hop into the game appearances. So for the game appearances that we got, I made a list of all the game appearances that he had, whether he was playable or not. So I highlighted the main ones where he had a more important role. Sonic 06 being the most important one of his inclusion. He has Sonic Rivals, Sonic Rivals 2, and then a bunch of other things. Sonic Forces, he had a smaller role, but still more notable than a lot of the other games. Let's see. But yeah, let's run through them a little bit, see what we can learn from them. So Sonic 06, Silver has a main role, but he does have a main role in the story. Sonic Rivals, he seems to have more of a side role, but still more important. I think he was in the box art. Sonic and the Secret Rings, I believe he was just a unlockable character. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe he was just a unlockable character. or if that was the Black Knight, I don't remember, but it's one of the two. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, that's not really like, he didn't have a main role in that game. All I know is that he didn't have a main role in that game. Sonic Smash Bros. Brawl cameo, speaks for itself. Another cameo, Superstars Tennis. Unleashed, he wasn't gonna end the game, which was mentioned. Sonic the Black Knight cameo. Mario and Sonic, Olympic Games, side game. I don't really like pay attention to that, bro. Are they even gonna bring those back? I remember they used to drop those like every 4 years, bro, with the Olympics, but now they don't even do that. So I'm like, did Sonic and Mario have a falling out, or like what happened? Let me know, bro. Sonic Free Riders, not a main role. Sonic Colors, I played that game on the DS. He was just probably like a side quest. You can just talk to him a little bit, but yeah, nothing really major. Also, that joint didn't make any sense. I don't know how Silver be appearing, bro. We're gonna get into that. For Sonic Generations, he was a rival battle, so he had some type of role, but and I think he was in the intro cutscene as well. Olympic Games, we can just skip over those. You know what that was about. Sonic All-Star Racing, he was just a character. Oh, he's a cameo. Wasn't a character? Oh, that's crazy. Sonic Jump. You need to jump. Honestly, I don't remember this game, but it might be like a side game. Sochi Olympic Winter Games. Alright, Sonic Dash, side game. Jump Fever, side game. Smash Bros. Cameo. Wasn't even a fighter, bro. I mean, we weren't gonna get Silver before Shadow, anyways. Like, let's keep it real. But man, we can dream, bro. We can dream. Sonic Runners. Yeah, that's where you got ESP Silver. Got Sonic Forces. He had a role in that game. It wasn't a big role or anything, but he had a side role. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate cameo. I can assure you, bro, he is not a player in that game. I have that game. I have that game. He's not there, bro. I haven't seen the cameos. I don't know what they talking about. Probably like a spirit or something. I don't know. Team Sonic Racing. Sega Streaming Theater Sonic Edition. Is that like a movie, bro? Sonic Dash. Alright, bro. The rest of these Sonic Shadow Generations. Alright, that's just Generations. Alright, the rest of these are just in Sonic Cross Worlds, of course, coming out soon. I'm hyped for that game. I'm gonna try to get it with my boy. We're gonna try to run it up. But I don't know when it's releasing though. But that game looks heat. But I mean, as you can see, Silver is like a side character in like all these games. Like he doesn't have, or except Sonic 06, that's like his biggest game. But all the other games, he doesn't have a prominent role at all. It's either like a spin-off game, or it's just a playing game where you just play for like no story, or it's like a game where he barely has any role. So from the jump, we know the type of treatment Sega has been giving Silver over the past years. So at least that's evident. Like it's not something I'm making up. Like Silver has not gotten a big role in a minute, and the game appearances show that. So we can understand his position, we understand what he's been going through for these last years, and maybe try to get an angle on like why. So I'm gonna keep that question running in our heads as we go into the next section. Sega Japan recently dropped a timeline. So this timeline covers a lot of the events in the Sonic series, and I feel like it was important for me to mention this because it reveals that some events were placed before others and helps us understand where everything fits in the timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that briefly, only the parts that are relevant to Silver. 200 years later, this is Silver's era, so it talks about Iblis. We're getting a little insight on Iblis and Mephiles more and more, so that's really tying back into the lore. So we know that Silver's future world is 200 years after Sonic modern world. So that being said, there's no way Silver is like the son of Sonic or whatever. That's not possible. He could be like great grandson, maybe grandson pushing it. I don't think Silver's related to Sonic, or maybe people think Shadow, bro. I don't know about that. I mean, Shadow is immortal, so I'm pretty sure he can live forever. But I'm not sure if he can really reproduce. Anyways, that's a question for another. That's a topic for another day. But yeah, we know Silver's world is 200 years ahead of Sonic's. So let's get into the history. Let's get into the lore of his backstory. and we're gonna be going to Sonic 06 because this is where Silver is first introduced. This is where most of his backstory derives from.
This world was devastated before I was born. A harsh, bleak place where we live in eternal darkness. Life is a struggle, and people live without hope. How did this happen? No one will answer me directly, but they always point to the flames. These flames, they burn away at my world, destroying everything in their path. They come from an eternal life form that we cannot truly defeat, the flames of disaster known as Iblis.
Dang, bro. Yo, I told you, but he was cooking on his monologue, bro. Like, this story is written well, bro. Like, they gotta give this game some justice. In Sonic 06, Silver lives in a time at least 200 years ahead of Sonic's, where the world has been utterly decimated by Iblis, one of the component consciousness of Solaris. I think it's important that we know, like, what Iblis is. So, Iblis, also known as Flames of Disaster, is an immortal monster of mass destruction that represents the raw power of Solaris. It acts as the main villain in Silver the Hedgehog story in Sonic 06. Okay, and that's Solaris. Capable of devouring the fabric of time itself, Solaris is debatable the most powerful single entity even ever seen within the Sonic game storyline. According to Eggman, at the end of the world, Solaris, like the Master Emerald, is a transcendental phenomenon existing simultaneously throughout all regions of time. During the story of Sonic 06, Solaris accidentally split into two component entities: Iblis, a semi-sentient fire being, and Mephiles, a malevolent and scheming black fog. Most of the games relates to Mephiles, efforts to refuse with the other half becomes Solaris once again. Alright. Soliana, a fictional city in Sonic Hedgehog. Alright, so along with his friend Blaze the Cat, Silver is engaged in a never-ending battle against the immortal fire demon, striking Iblis down whenever it manifests to try and at least limit the damage it causes.
Looks like we stopped it for now.
But it'll just rise up from its ashes again. What's the point of all this? It'll never end.
Calm down, Silver.
Then tell me what we should do. How can we completely destroy Iblis?
At the end of Sonic 06, Solaris is defeated is defeated and an in-universe temporal paradox occurs when Princess Elise extinguishes the flame of hope, thereby averting the day of disaster. Silver's fate becomes confusing here because his entire timeline is now apparently prevented from ever happening. I'm gonna figure out what day of disaster is. Catastrophic event which takes place in one of the possible near futures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Retroactively preventing the day of disaster from occurring is the chief motivation behind Silver's story in the game.
To fix this present timeline, you need to change the past.
But that's impossible!
With my help, you can. Because I have the power to travel through time.
No way!
In order to change the past, you must eliminate the individual who has awakened Iblis, the Iblis trigger.
If I eliminate that guy, will our world be saved?
The day of disaster. Here are my records of this event. This was when Iblis was freed and his flames were released into the world. And you have this person to blame.
I see it! So that blue hedgehog's the Iblis trigger?
10 years before Sonic 06's main timeline, the Solaris Project accidentally split a hyper-dimensional phenomenon called Solaris into two separate demigodly beings, Mephiles, a cunning and malicious creature of black smoke, and Iblis, a semi-sentient fire spirit. With the help of the Great Chaos Remote, a time-traveling Silver and the mortally wounded Duke of Siliana managed to seal Iblis into the soul of the Duke's daughter, Princess Elise III. With his dying words, the Duke instructed Elise never to cry, as doing so to release Iblis into the world.
An electromagnetic pulse has just been generated, injecting a decompression agent. No, the level's not dropping. A spatial meltdown is inevitable. My lord, it's too late. We've got to take shelter.
Why so loud? Why do you refuse to listen to my voice? Elise!
Is that flame? It's Iblis!
And the black shadow is the original Mephiles.
That's Mephiles? They're escaping!
We'll have to split up. I'll pursue Mephiles.
Okay, then leave Iblis to me.
Seal it with this.
Hurry! Ah! Ah! Hey! What are you doing? You've got to leave!
I have my duty. This living flame has been entrusted to the royal family. The flames of disaster will awaken if nothing is done. That must not happen. Eternal Sun, the living flame that has been entrusted to the royal family, fall into slumber with a royal soul. I'm sorry, but can you take her to a safe place? That's a good girl, Elise. Remember, be brave. Don't cry, no matter what happens. Otherwise, your tears will call forth the flames inside you. Become a strong queen who doesn't cry no matter what happens. And live happily.
As it turns out, this is good advice. Silver hails from a future where Iblis eventually was released, and the world is not in the least bit pleasant. Towering fire cyclones, sunless smoke, clogged skies, permanently erupting volcanoes, post-apocalyptic cities eternally burn in the sea of a living flame, and so forth. What survivors were left, and Mephiles implies there's at least enough humans left to start a witch hunt. Although the event itself is never shown to the game, at least hallucinates and prognosticates. Zelana being consumed by the fire during the opening sequence. After the paradox of the end of Sonic 06, history is rewritten so that Iblis is never split from Solaris, let alone released to the world, and we're eliminating the Day of Disaster for the future. So Day of Disaster is pretty much the day where Solaris takes over Silver's world and like just burns everything, and that's why Silver knows the world just as it is. So I mean, at least we know, because from that monologue, Silver was born into this world being burned. So the Day of Disaster had to happen before Silver was born. So I don't know how old Silver is. I think some research that I did, I saw that he was like 14 to 16 years old, but the Day of Disaster happened before he was born. So we know that much. Going back to the Day of Disaster, Silver's fate becomes confusing here because his entire timeline is now apparently prevented from ever happening. Since Silver does not turn up again in later games, he obviously has been erased from time. But what his origin story is now, after the events of 06, is never addressed. In Sonic Rivals and Sonic Rivals 2, he still comes from the future, same future as Eggman Nega and the Onyx Island. But the nature of the future is only hazily specified. In Sonic Colors Nintendo DS, he tells Sonic and Tails the future is not all stone and buildings. It's a lot brighter than this. The sky is blue and everyone's got a smile. But in his Sonic Generations profile, we're told that Silver the Hedgehog who comes from the future to change a ruined planet on his timeline. So there's clearly inconsistencies with Silver's backstory. That's another confusing part of Silver's character himself. His timeline, everything, all the events that happened in 06 happened, but the same time they didn't. So like, I mean, theoretically the events happened in a separate timeline, but since Elise blew out the candle, blew out the flame, all that got erased. So my interpretation of that is that Silver was still born 200 years ago, or 200 years later from the modern timeline of Sonic. So from the modern era, he was born 200 years later. But I think Silver was just born into a regular natural world where there's just bright skies and stuff. There's no Iblis, there's no Day of Disaster, there's none of that. Because Elise blew out the candle, so it's erased the events of all that even happening. So Silver never had to travel back in time. I'm not saying he won't have his psychic powers, but there's a chance his psychic powers might not be as strong, because there probably might be like little to no reason for him to be going so hard in, going to train his powers up. But I mean, that's just a little theory of mine. But because obviously growing up into a harsh time requires strength, requires you to be strong to deal with the flames of Iblis. And Silver is a strong hedgehog for sure, so he must have got that by growing up, must have just learned the ways to survive. But obviously, from what I can interpret it, the Day of Disaster never happens, so we don't really have much insight of this Silver born into this just safe world. Silver lives light years in the future. Psychic abilities are the norm. Alright, so we don't see many psychic abilities. I don't think we see any psychic abilities at all in Sonic modern era. So psychic abilities could be more of a genetic thing. As people grown over time, they might have got slower, but gotten the ability to grow psychic powers and be able to fly and stuff. Because we don't see a lot of people that can fly naturally in the Sonic series, or at least the Hedgehogs at least. So the psychic abilities could be something that grew genetically over time. Silver lives light years in the future while psychic abilities are the norm. The happy people of his planet are very powerful and they regularly move objects with their mind using telekinetic powers. Alright, so a lot of people have it, so it might be a genetic thing, like a genetic shift. One day, Silver witnesses the start of a cataclysmic event that will surely wipe out his entire planet. Without hesitation, he races back in time to stop the Iblis trigger. With the very future in his hands, he will use all his power to defeat the evildoer. Profile from Sonic 06 official mini site. Profile actually contradicts much of what is seen in the game. Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because Silver talks about being born into a world of devastation. So it wouldn't make sense for him to see that apocalyptic event from his own eyes. So I'm gonna go based off what the game says. I don't know about that mini site. They gotta get their facts right. In his debut game, Silver's story opens with him and Blaze pursuing Iblis through the flaming wasteland of Crisis City. Silver has been fighting against Iblis his whole life. So far, an entirely futile endeavor. As such time is defeated, Iblis will simply rise up again Phoenix-like. Venting his frustrations after Iblis Phase 1, Silver and Blaze are given an intriguing proposition by a mysterious stranger. They can be sent into the past to kill the Iblis Trigger, the person who unleashed Iblis into the world on the day of disaster. Silver accepts, and he and Blaze are sent back in time as Mephiles' assassins.
I'll send us back in time to the point when the Iblis Trigger was alive.
Where am I? Blaze? Blaze! I guess we all got separated. This is so unbelievable. Now, I must fight for the future.
While pursuing Sonic across Soliana, Silver suffers a crisis of conscience at his mission, but Blaze manages to convince him that preemptive murder is the right answer. Yo, that's crazy, bro. I mean, Blaze standing on timer, bro. She said, kill this dude and our future is saved. I'm like, Blaze trying to kill somebody, bro. That's crazy.
So this is where you are. I've been looking for you. What's wrong?
Well, Blaze? To kill someone to save the world. Is that really the right thing to do?
You're so naive. Whether it's right or wrong, I can't really say. But what I do know is, if we don't take this chance, the future will remain exactly as it is.
Since he's after Dr. Eggman, let's sneak into Eggman's base. Maybe we'll learn something new.
However, a chaos control accident during a fight against Shadow sends Silver and the Ultimate Life Form further back in time to the Solaris Project, where they discover the truth behind Mephiles' identity.
Blaze!
What did you see?
The Iblis Trigger wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog.
I see.
What if his ultimate objective was to release Iblis?
His illusions dispelled, Silver goes on to team up with Sonic in order to save Princess Elise on the egg carrier, and fight a final battle against Iblis Phase 3, where he loses Blaze. After Mephiles' plan succeeds anyways, alright, so bro found out the truth but still lost. Silver helps gather up the Chaos Emeralds needed to resuscitate Sonic at the end of the world, finding the Great Emerald in Dusty Desert. Along with Super Sonic and Super Shadow, Super Silver helps defeat Solaris and reset the timeline.
Thank you, Elise.
We gotta go a lot of lore here from Sonic 06. We understand Silver's mission to stop, he wanted to stop the Iblis Tricker. Mephiles tricking him to thinking it was Sonic. But in actuality, if you play the game, Mephiles just wanted Silver to kill Sonic in order for Elise to cry, so that she can release Iblis, which is was contained inside of her at an early age. So he wanted her to cry in order to release Iblis, in order for him to regain his counterpart, so Iblis and Mephiles could I guess fuse together to become Solaris and to end the world. So Mephiles is just straight up evil, but I mean one of the best villains in Sonic, bro. We gotta give him some justice. Yeah, Silver was sent back in time with the help of the Chaos Emerald and Mephiles' powers. His plan was to take out Sonic. I mean, at least Silver had some thought about it, bro. He was thinking about, isn't killing people the right thing to do? But the Blaze is like, hey, no, we gotta kill him, bro. We gotta save the world. I'm tired of this fire joint. So Silver is like, alright, bro. I got lock in game. We understand Silver's motives. We understand why he was so tricked. People talk about him being too naive, but if your world is in complete devastation, all you could do is fight Iblis and he just comes back the next day, I would take any option I can get to stop the world from burning, bro. There's no time to be skeptical about it. If there's an option, I'm taking it, cause he been fighting Iblis non-stop day and night, bro. I like get tiring, bro. If you see an option out, he probably gonna take it. So I mean, I really can't blame him. But yeah, we see that Silver has the abilities to go as strong as Sonic, as strong as Shadow, and yeah, Sonic 06. I think the plot was good. It's just the gameplay was horrible, which made the game really bad. In terms of the writing, I think the writing's one of the best in the Sonic series, hands down. Whoever wrote that script, bro, or wrote that whole joint, they gotta get him back. Heading into Sonic Rivals. A mysterious young Silver the Hedgehog. Silver is equipped with psychic powers that allow him to propel items through the air and with the power of his mind. The only thing Silver really knows is that he's searching for someone, but for whom, and more importantly, why. Shrouded in mystery, Silver begins to chase after Dr. Eggman to find the clues that will unlock his quest. Although the Solaris paradox at the end of Sonic 06 might have been expected to destroy his entire timeline, Silver is reintroduced to the series in Sonic Rivals. Silver has again traveled back in time, this time to stop Eggman and Nega from altering history on Onyx Island. Unfortunately for Silver, the travel to the past seems to have left him with amnesia, so it's only as the story progresses that he remembers his mission to stop I ain't gonna say it, bro. I ain't gonna say it. From abusing the power of his card transforming camera. After a series of competitions with Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, and Metal Sonic, Silver finally fights N, whose machine backfires and turns him into a card. What? Okay. Silver is last seen saying that he will find and restore the other items and has turned into cards before returning to the future. Whether Silver completes this mission is never revealed. So Sonic Rivals 2, in the second installment of the Rivals series, Eggman manages to escape from his card prison into the present time, where he attempts to unleash an interdimensional beast called the Ifrit. I don't know. To set things right, Silver travels to the present once again to stop N from releasing the Eye Rift. Here the Hedgehog forms an unlikely alliance with Espio the Chameleon. Although Vector initially suspected Silver of being responsible for the recent spat of Chow disappearances, Espio and Silver team up to prevent the real culprit and from sacrificing the captured Chow to the Ifrith. Along the way, Silver encounters many friends and foes, including Team Sonic, Shadow Rouge, and Metal Sonic. All 8 of them end up in the Ifrith's home dimension, Chaotic Inferno Zone, to fight the fiery creature. Silver decides to leave Eggman and trapped in the rubble and Hellish Dimension in the game. As we can see, this version of Silver completely counterattacks the events that happened in Sonic 06, because Silver's timeline is apparently fine, but we don't understand how Silver can time travel. We don't understand why he's here. Maybe it's kind of like a Future Trunks type of joint, where Future Trunks had to fight the androids and his future was saved, but then another enemy arrives, so he has to go back in time to get Goku and Vegeta's help. In Dragon Ball Super, Trunks has to fight Goku Black, so he has to go back in time to get Vegeta and Vegeta and Goku's help. So maybe it could be something like that, where his timeline after the events of Sonic 06 is fine, but another enemy shows up and he has to go back in time to get help. I guess that kind of would make sense, since Silver doesn't know. I think Sonic Rivals talks about Silver doesn't know the characters beforehand, and the whole timeline got erased, so his memories of even meeting Sonic and Shadow are not there, because the timeline of those events got erased, so it's almost like that never even happened. So Silver not knowing who these characters are makes more sense, but I mean, time travel is just a crazy thing. It's always going to have some type of plot holes in it. So Sonic Rivals gives us a little bit more insight on where Silver comes from. Obviously, I would want the timeline to make sense, so I mean, this got some explaining to do. So Sonic Generations. Whereas Blaze the Cat manages to find her way to Sonic's birthday party in spite of the time-space difficulties involved. Like, that's the joint I don't understand, bro. How is Blaze? She's from the future, so how is she traveling through time? It seems that Silver does not. Like, that doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, plot holes like that, it just makes me like wonder, like, who's writing these games, bro. Like, whoever wrote Sonic 06, you did a good job. You did a good job. You did a good job with that one. I'll give you respect for that. But Sonic Generations, bro, how is Blaze at Sonic's birthday party and Silver is not there? They're like best friends, bro. That don't make no sense. Anyways, he is however snapped as the Time Eater ramps through history. Though Silver recognizes Sonic, again, how? Maybe from the Sonic Rivals, or let's slide from Sonic Rivals. If the timeline is Sonic Generations after Sonic Rivals. Silver recognizes Sonic, so I'm assuming from Sonic Rivals. He suspects the Blue Hedgehog might be an illusion sent by the aforementioned chronological monstrosity, and so he's understandably reluctant to just hand over his Chaos Emerald. This leads to the rival battle against Silver on the Smash Causeway of Crisis City, as the two Sonics battles Time Eater as the game's final boss. Silver is more supportive, joining the rest of the cast in cheering the Sonics on. In the end sequence, Silver is returned to Sonic's party despite not having been there beforehand, a fate he shares with Shadow. In the Nintendo 3DS version of the game, Modern Sonic simply races against Silver in Tropical Resort. Alright, so again, another big role here. Just put him as a rival, just I guess market the game better. It was a cool feature though. And then Sonic Runners uses a playable type. Ultimate version of Silver, known as ESP Silver, could be unlocked via the Premium Roulette, and instead Dad discovered his true power after splitting from Blaze. Dang, bro had to log in, bro. He had to get rid of the girl, bro. He had to get rid of the girl, just focus on himself. Hey, bro, I gotta respect it. He focused on himself, gained some new powers. Alright, last one, we got Sonic Forces. So in Sonic Forces, Silver appears as one of the key members of the Resistance due to Eggman's conquest of the planet, throwing his time into chaos once more. Prior to the game, he traveled back into the past with little historical records to explain what happened. Bro, whoever wrote this article is salty. And tried to explain to Knuckles about the coming disaster. The Echidna didn't believe him at first until Pakamax village in chaos suddenly appeared thanks to Eggman's testing the powers of the Phantom Ruby. Later in the game, he tries to battle Infinite 101 in the Luminous Forest and makes him drop a Phantom Ruby prototype, but is overpowered. As he's about to finish off, Sonic comes in and saves him, taking on Infinite himself while Silver recovers.
But I'm always happy to crush a hero. It keeps the rabble in line, shows them that there is no hope.
Does anyone but you believe your lies?
Time to tag out, Silver. I got it from here.
So Silver and Knuckles have a little backstory before Sonic Forces. Silver's getting packed up by Eclipse. That's an L. That's an L, bro. You can't be getting packed up by Infinite, bro. Get back, bro. Sonic comes in and saves him. But I mean, like, bro, why are they nerfing Silver, bro? He's nearly as strong as Sonic, bro. He should be taking on Infinite, like, for real. Shadow took Infinite on with ease. So you telling me Silver? I mean that. I did make a tier list and I did put Silver below Sonic and Shadow, but he shouldn't be that below that he's getting packed up by Infinite, bro. He's going toe to toe with him for a bit, but then he got cooked. So I'm like, what happened? There was a little comic that ties back into Sonic Forces. I know I wasn't gonna talk about any comics, but this ties right back into the game, so I consider that canon. I don't care if you don't think it's canon, bro. It was heat, so I'm gonna put it in there. Let's read this comment. See what's up. On Angel Island, high above the world. As much as I enjoy a good treasure hunt, you can't beat the peace and quiet of Angel Island. Come to think of it, it's been a while since I've been roped into one of Sonic's adventures. I'm always saving his. Knuckles! You're good. Oh good, you are here. Silver? We've got big trouble. Eggman. How can you be here? I thought he returned to the future. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, how is this dude coming, just spawning out of the future, like, back to back, bro? There's like no limits. Is there no, like, I know in every single movie about time travel, you can't be like just jumping from time travel. It's gonna affect the timeline, bro. Bro does not care, bro. He come back with the homies, bro. Oh wait, I must be dreaming. What? No, I've come back with a dire warning from the future. Where did Angel Island go? This is Pakamaka's village from the past. Wait, he's not on Angel Island no more? Silver, did you try and travel us into the past? No, I just came back to your time. I don't know what's going on. I came to warn you that something's behind you. Ha, you came all this way just for that? That's just chaos. He's a peaceful guard of the Chow. He's harmless. Dang, he socked him, bro. Harmless, huh? I forgot he's got a bad temper, but I know how to put him in his place. Bro's fighting water, bro. Knuckles getting packed up. I've got this. Nah, Silver, bro, you do not got this, bro. If Knuckles can't take him, bro, I don't think you can take him, bro. Gotcha. See, Silver getting cooked too, bro. That's a new trick. We're going to work together on this. Right. What do we need? What do you need me to do? Just give me a clear shot at his brain. Alright, so they fighting him. Where did Chaos go? What happened to the village? What's going on? This all has to tie into the calamity that's about to befallen us. Something happens in this time that brings the world to ruin, but the historical records are sparse or makes no sense. I came back to hopefully head off to whatever is about to happen and save the future. Come again? And you came to me. I wouldn't have known about anything on the surface until it's too late. My involvement must be crucial to saving the world. Knuckles, bro, it ain't that deep, bro. It ain't that deep, bro. You ain't the main character, bro. Even Silver gonna say it. So I'm gonna be very involved. Whatever's going on, I'll lead the resistance against it. I don't know if all that's necessary, but I'm glad to have your help. Let's go. The first test of the Phantom's Ruby power was a resounding success. With such power, I won't even need to bother the Master Emerald. Oh ho ho ho! Look out, Sonic! You'll never survive against the power of the Phantom Ruby, bro. Sonic lives in his head, bro. Oh, Ian Flynn running it. I like Ian Flynn writing this, bro. Ian Flynn got some writing skills. I respect that. Looks like Knuckles and Silver were the founding fathers of the Sonic Forces. Again, Knuckles leading things, bro. Knuckles is a natural born leader, bro. Founding father of the Chaotix with SPO, and now he a founding father of the Sonic Forces, bro. Or the Forces of what was it called? The Resistance. Oh, the Resistance. My fault. But yeah, Knuckles a born leader, bro. Gotta respect it. If you see a threat, he get on timing. So we get a little insight of that. So let's hop into the relationships that Silver has with a lot of these characters. I know in Sonic 06 we talked about Silver and his time with Blaze. So let's get into that real quick. So Blaze the Cat is Silver's companion and best friend, as the two worked together in his dark future during this hilarious incident. Both were dedicated to finding a way to finish Iblis and free the future from flames. Silver relied on Blaze for her ability to sense Iblis, so she had a connection to fire, so pyrokinesis in a way, but also for emotional stability. So dang, bro, she was like kind of his girl, like his, I'm not gonna say girl, I'm not gonna ship them, bro, I'm not gonna ship them, but best friend, bro. Sometimes you just need someone in your corner, and she was there for him. I respect that. He showed concern for her safety and greatly trusted her. He came to Blaze with his biggest questions, such as how to destroy Iblis or whether it's right to take a life to save the world. He valued her straightforward thinking, while Blaze valued his earnestness. Silver became unstable without Blaze's emotional support, following Mephiles' plan unquestioningly. Upon being separated by time travel, Silver hunted the Iblis trigger, while Blaze tried to reunite with him. His encounter with Amy reminded him of Blaze and got him to wait for her in Soliana, New City, where he seemed ashamed and again sought her advice. They then continued to fight for the future together, agreeing to save the world at any cost. Despite his willingness to take Sonic's life to save the future, Silver couldn't bring himself to stop time and seal Blaze and Iblis away to do the same. Unwillingly to lose her, he asked for her assurance that she was his friend, underestimating their bond and causing Blaze to painfully scold him for being naive before vanishing.
Chaos Emeralds, lend me your power. Eternal Sun, the living flame that has been entrusted to the royal family. Fall into slumber with my soul, Iblis, you cursed flames of disaster! Ah! Ah! No! Why won't it accept me as the vessel? Blaze!
I'll take Iblis. Don't worry. My soul is already alit with flames. I will be accepted. Come on, make it quick. Use your chaos control to stop time. Then steal us into a different dimension.
No! I can't do that to you.
Didn't we already go through this? We agreed to save the world at any price!
I can't! I wouldn't know what to do without you! You fought alongside me to save the world! You're my friend, right?
You're still so naive. But I've always liked that about you.
Once Alaris was erased from the timeline, Silver's life was altered, and his relationship with Blaze was forgotten. In appearances since the two do not retain any knowledge of this time they spent together. Silver and Blaze meet again on Sweet Mountain during the Wisp incident, where they combine their powers to scare off Orbot and Cubot, which he is unable to recall his partnership with Blaze. Silver feels a familiar sense of having worked with her before. While getting to know each other again, references to their former relationship continue to occur. During the Time Eater incident, Silver and Blaze both represent the Crisis City area, and they can be seen talking at Sonic's birthday party in the ending. During the Otherworld incident, much like the Wisp incident, the pair are shown at odds to start with due to conflicting ideals. However, they quickly fall into stride and end up working in perfect sync and recalling a feeling of meeting before. Despite the fact that the Phantom Ruby should have inflicted total memory loss of the real world, despite having only met for a short while, Silver is willing to hold out for 200 years for her. Dang. That's dedication, bro. Respect that. That's dedication. During Don Don's Pause Grand Prix, Silver and Blaze race together. What is that name, bro? Together as part of the Team Vector. They share a warm hello and respecting each other's abilities. They even finish one another's sentences. That's chemistry. Ugh. When Silver becomes distracted by premonition, Blaze expresses concern. Once he explains his wariness of the races, Blaze trusts his intuition and chooses to investigate on her own terms too. Silver admires Blaze, both for her dedication to protecting others and her ability to illuminate complicated concepts for him. Meanwhile, Blaze admires Silver's ability to act decisively and his desire to do good. Sonic compared their dynamic to his own with Tails, as they help cover each other's weaknesses and bring out their strengths. So it seems like Blaze and Silver are really close friends. They help each other in times of need. Silver uses for like advice, so it seems like Blaze might be a little bit more wise than Silver, but they help each other's strengths and weaknesses. Silver is more earnest, and I think Blaze doesn't have a strong point like that as Silver does. While she has more insight and wisdom, it seems like Silver has more heart, he has more soul, and they just help each other grow. And that's what a good friendship is for. They help each other in times of need. They're always there to talk to each other. There's no doubt that Silver and Blaze are a duo that literally meant for each other, because even after the timeline was erased, there's still hints of them lingering. There's still little aspects of them that brought them back together. So connections never died, really. So from the Sonic comic, for the Sonic Forces, I did read it that Silver and Knuckles had a little connection there, so that's a little relationship that they had. But I also want to get into the part with Shadow and his role with Silver in Sonic 06. So the two first met in Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 of Sonic 06, when Shadow stopped Silver, who mistook him for Mephiles, he stopped him from killing Sonic.
I knew it! I knew you'd return. You had to.
Huh. You again.
This time, there will be no more interruptions! The Iblis trigger must die!
Sonic.
Elise! Ah! It's time to end this! Mephiles! Why are you getting in my way?
I'm Shadow the Hedgehog. Chaos control!
You!
Don't bother. With the Chaos Emerald's power, I control time and space. You can't break free.
I won't give up! It all depends on me! Can't lose! Not when I'm so close! Ah!
Chaos
control! Huh?
You induced chaos control.
I won't let anyone get in my way. I'll change the past and save the world!
Mephiles isn't trying to help you create a better future. He's trying to eliminate the past.
What? What are you talking about?
To discover what happened, it seems we must see what took place 10 years ago. Follow me if you want the truth.
After their fight, the two ventured back in time together using a dimensional rift to learn the truth about Iblis, Mephiles, and the Solaris Project. Shadow the Hedgehog seems to be impressed by Silver's powers, and his determination, most specifically how quickly he learns to induce chaos control. Keeping in mind that normally Shadow does not concern himself with other people and prefers to work alone. He takes Silver under his quills surprisingly easily when going to the past. So Shadow sees some potential in Silver. Like I said, Silver is the forgotten prodigy, bro. He has the potential to be as strong as Shadow and Sonic, maybe even stronger. but he just needs that training. He just needs to have more exposure, because Silver's from the future, and there's not many characters that are on par on his level besides Blaze. So he doesn't really have that exposure or like engagement with other characters that can do chaos control, that have strengths similar to his own. At the same time, Silver seems slightly in awe of Shadow, and by the end of their time together, is much more mature.
Did you do it?
Yes. And you?
Yes. The flames are properly sealed. It's done. You're going to leave it behind?
Yes. I already know what becomes of it in the future. It's time to return.
Yes, of course. Chaos Control! It's a lucky charm.
Alright, so since the events of the games were erased, they did not canonically meet until Sonic Rivals. At first, Shadow did not trust Silver's speculations about Dr. Eggman's true identity. After realizing that he was right, the two helped each other in the Meteor base. At the end of the game, Silver refers Shadow and Sonic as brave. In Sonic Rivals 2, however, they're not allies. They fight each other at some points, and Silver is very vocal when warning Shadow not to get in his way. Shadow and Silver are more like a mutual respect. The way I read it, they have a mutual respect for each other and their powers, the determinations, their ideals, beliefs. But yeah, not necessarily friends, but respect. We learned about the relationships. Obviously, Silver and Sonic are friends now, even though Silver tried to kill him. Shoot, I would take that to the grave, bro. Let's get into some lore. Character conception. Silver's design, and specifically his psychokinetic abilities, were planned as a means of showcasing the capabilities of the power new Psychics engine being implemented in Sonic 06. The character went through over 50 potential my goodness, 50? Shoot, bro. I mean, they must have wanted to get it right. I gotta respect the dedication. Including being named Venus. The Venus like envisions a Salon and Castle talent. Nah, Silver's better, bro. I'm glad they went with Silver. And as a mink rather than a hedgehog, before Silver's final look was settled upon. Silver shares his height, weight, and species, initials, gender, and super state fur and eye color with Sonic and Shadow. Sonic team member Shun Nakamura has stated in an interview on Sonic Channel the similarities are very much intentional, especially in terms of Silver's name, as to ensure that any games entitled Sonic, Shadow, or Silver will end up next to each other on a game store shelves. Oh, so they set Silver up to be on a pedestal like Sonic and Shadow. That was their intention with it. In Sega's Sonic 06 game script spreadsheet file, there are character profiles written corresponding English and Japanese that talks to their personalities and some of their origins. At the end of Silver's English profile, it says, "The blow is all temporary." Essentially, think Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. Alright, so they were basing him off Dragon Ball Z. Alright, so it makes even more sense to base him off. An interview that was included with Sega Mega Drive Collection, Nakamoto had mentioned that Silver's psychokinetic abilities were officially intended to be used in another action game called Sonic Team is developing. It's speculated that this game was the cancelled 5th Phantom Saga, in which you would have been able to control a character with psychokinetic abilities similar to Silver's. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So they're actually setting Silver up with a game. Oh, it was first-person shooter? Inspiration. So Silver is being set up going away from this lore out in some concept art right here. That's what Silver is originally going to look like. I guess this was posted in 2008. This is what he was originally going to look like. First kind of weird, not gonna lie, I'm not messing with that, but everything else looks kind of like Silver. That's low-key kind of cool, but maybe it'd be too close to Sonic's design. I kind of like how they went with this one, but either or is fine. I like this one though. Shoes, I have to see the color because that could be heat. I would have to see the color. But basically what I read from the description, they were setting Silver up to be on the same level of popularity as Sonic and Shadow. They're going to be the trio of hedgehogs. Silver representing the future, Sonic the modern times, and Shadow the past. They're originally going to set up Silver to be on that limelight, but what happened? What caused the decline of Silver's popularity? What happened to the decline of including Silver into these games? He was set up as a prodigy. He was set up to be on the same level as Sonic and Shadow. He has the abilities, as we read in the physical descriptions. He has the abilities, he has the uniqueness, he has a cool design. He was set up to be a great character. But what happened? That leads me into our next section. Why is Silver neglected? So I came up with some reasons of why I think Silver is neglected, and I think the most obvious reason, the first reason being, is the stain of Sonic 06 upon Silver. Sonic 06, one of the most disappointing games in the Sonic series. It was set up to be such a success, had a great story in my opinion. Just the gameplay was awful. The game wasn't fully set up for the new system. Therefore, there's a lot of glitches within the mechanics of the game, causing it to be nearly unplayable. I took up some reviews from the Sonic 06 ratings or whatever, and it got a 4.8 out of 10 from IGN and a 48% or 46% from Metacritic. These are pretty low scores, and it shows that a lot of fans were not appreciative of Sonic 06. That being said, Silver had a great story going from introduced in this game. He's a prodigy. Like I said, he's a prodigy. He was set up for success, but ultimately the game flopped, and therefore a lot of that stain from Sonic 06 was thrown upon Silver's character from the backlash. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fans of Silver. This game had a negative impact on Silver's image. Maybe this is why Sega doesn't seem to want to put Silver in the spotlight, because it reminds them of their failure of Sonic 06. Silver is set up to be one of the best. He was set up to be one of the GOATs. But this game flopped, and overall, a lot of people did not want to play this game. And a character originating from this game, the game is obviously going to have some impact on them, because that's what their origins are. That's their backstory. So Sonic 06 flopping has a big impact on Silver. Not because people don't like Silver as a character. It's because they barely have a chance to play as him. So they don't have much experience of it, or don't have much familiarity of Silver as a character. People want to play as a character they like, and they can't even play as any character in a game without Silver glitches. That's going to throw a big stain on Silver. I did a recent poll on my YouTube. What's your favorite hedgehog? Obviously, people are gonna pick who they like, but let me show the results of that real quick. Obviously, this doesn't speak for the whole world, doesn't speak for the whole Sonic Sega fans or whatever. No, it doesn't speak for the whole fans, but just getting a little margin of those fans just to see where everyone's interest lies. So as we can see here, posted 3 days ago, obviously gonna change later as time progresses. Favorite Hedgehog, 56% Sonic, 28% Shadow, and 8% tied with Amy and Silver. Obviously not surprising, Sonic and Shadow steal the show every time. But I was expecting Silver to have a little bit more, maybe being in the third option, maybe being on par with a little bit, maybe half of Sonic's. No, Shadow, not more than Shadow. I was expecting Shadow to take over. But anyways, I'm saying Silver's popularity isn't there. A lot of people don't know who he is. A lot of people don't have much experience of him in the good limelight. And that goes into my next point. Silver hasn't been in games that have been hasn't been in a lot of games that have been profitable for Sega. Sega doesn't see they don't see Silver as a profitable character. And a lot of that's their own fault. They set him up for success, but they didn't give it the tools they didn't give the tools to Silver to keep that running. It's like giving someone $1 million, or I don't know, a lot of money for a business, and they set them up for success, but they made the wrong choices within the business, which caused the downfall of the character's image. Sonic Forces, another game that was widely not accepted by the Sonic fans, did better than Sonic 06. IGN gave it a 6.9 out of 10, so that's not bad. It's not bad, decent. Metacritic 57%, game FAQs 57%. So it wasn't a bad game, but it definitely wasn't good. But a lot of the fans did not like the game. In another game where Silver is included in the game, he didn't have a big story as of his Sonic 06. He didn't have a big role either. He wasn't even playable. So that kind of shows you where Silver's positioning is, where he fits in the hierarchy of characters. Because Knuckles had a higher role than Silver in that game. Sonic, obviously, main character Shadow, I think he had his own DLC. He had more time, more screen time than Silver. Like, a lot of these characters had more roles than Silver, bruh. So I'm just saying, like, if they're just gonna throw Silver in the game just for him to do nothing, don't throw him in the game at all, bro. Cause this dude's been taking mad disrespect for the past years, bro. He was set up to be on par with Sonic and Shadow, but overall he has not lived up to that. And I believe he wasn't given the assets. This all goes back to the stain that Sonic 06 had for him. That image, that bad stain of Sonic 06, that's gonna stay on him until he's able to get rid of that stain and come back with some heat. I don't know how Silver's gonna get that popularity up. I don't know how Silver's gonna become the character he was meant to be. And again, we have Sonic Rivals, another decent game. 64% game FAQ, 64% Metacritic, 2.3 out of 5 from Glitch Wave. So Silver appeared, or the more bigger roles that he had in well, I shouldn't even say bigger, because the roles weren't as big as Sonic 06, but Sonic 06 was the biggest role that he had in a Sonic game, and that game flopped. In all the other games he's included in, he's either a side character unlockable or just a player character in a spin-off. And the games that he has a more bigger role, they didn't do too well. The fans didn't appreciate Sonic Forces, the fans didn't appreciate Sonic 06. I think the fans did like Sonic Rivals, but according to these ratings, the game wasn't the best. So that leads me into my next point. He has no stable backstory that's canon, and there's a lot of timeline confusion. After the events of Sonic 06, apparently that whole joint is not even didn't even happen. Canonically, Silver comes from the Sonic Rivals timeline, but that timeline don't even make sense if we're looking at compared to Sonic 06. And I mean, it's kind of hard not to look at Sonic 06. That's where Silver originates. That's where Silver comes from. That's literally where his character was made from. Even in that comic we read, Knuckles was like, "How are you even here? I thought you returned to the future." That's just another play onto the timeline and how Silver just keeps reappearing in the modern franchise of Sonic when he needs help. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Silver, but we appreciate you. We appreciate your help. But at least can someone from Sega make a timeline that makes sense? Like, make a story behind Silver that's actually canon, instead of us just including Silver into these new games just to have him as a character and not have him as a story, not have him as a major plot point, because that just makes it redundant. That just makes his inclusion seem forced. rather than necessary. If he can get into another game with good writing, good plot, good gameplay, that's obviously gonna boost his popularity, it's gonna boost his character recognition to the next level. So that really ties into my recommendations, the last section of this case study. I made a little list here of my recommendations, kind of heat, I know, but I'm gonna go through them one on one, and also type in the comments what you guys think about my recommendations and what would you recommend. But yeah, let's hop into this. Well, the first thing that needs to happen to get rid of that Sonic 06 stain is that Silver needs a new game focused on him. They need to bring Silver back into the spotlight, and if they're really committed about this, they're gonna have to give him his own game. Like, that's literally the only solution. You can include him in spin-offs all you want. They're just gonna see Sonic 06. Like, they need to bring a new game with him, new storyline, new plot, just everything new. Just rebrand Silver. Still give him the elements, personality, abilities that we all like, but build a new story around him that's actually canon to make people more focused on him, and that give him an enjoyable game. It'll give him a lot more fans and create a lot more profit revenue for Sega in the Sonic series. So that ties hand in hand with more recognition and branding for the character. Putting Silver in the right spotlight, position him in the right way, will allow fans to recognize him more, grow more ties with him, connections with him, and that's how Silver gets back into the limelight. That's how Silver, I want to say Silver is going to be on the same par as Sonic and Shadow that easily. That takes time, that takes years, that takes dedication. But with the right tools utilized, Silver can get on that level that he was meant to be. We talked about the timeline continuity and the problem with Sonic 06. We talked about that. They need to address that or fix that, one of the others, because right now Silver doesn't have a stable backstory. He's just appearing randomly out of nowhere, just for whatever the timeline, just to be included in the game. And I feel like that's really redundant and low-key pointless, because even in the games that he appears in, he has literally zero role. Well, not zero role, but just a little role. So obviously fix the timeline. That goes back into the game. If you make a new game, new story, we can just go based off that, and that timeline will be restored. A lot of people are talking about Sonic Frontiers Tier 2 having Silver in that game, but I think Sega should make Sonic Adventure 3 revolve around Silver. No, let me cut real quick. Sonic Adventure 1, that story revolved around Sonic. Sonic Adventure 2, and that game included Shadow. Now to complete the trio, we gotta have Silver in Sonic Adventure 3. It would be heat. Silver would have his own gameplay. They could focus a lot on that, because in the Sonic Adventure series, there's a bunch of different characters, and they all have their own gameplay. They all have their unique character styles of how they play, and this would be a great way to Silver to show off his psychokinetic powers. And also, Sonic Adventure 3, give it a new story. Whoever wrote Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, phenomenal job in the writing. And they could do that with Sonic Adventure 3. Sonic Adventure 3 is a highly anticipated game that a lot of Sonic fans have been waiting for over the past years. And what better way to increase the hype as to put Silver as the main focal point of the game. Obviously Sonic's the main character, so he's gonna steal the show one way or another. But give Silver a big plot like in Sonic 06, or maybe even a bigger plot if you can. As long as the writing makes sense and the story still highlights Silver's personality, still doesn't change Silver who he is, but still highlights Silver, highlights his capabilities, and also gives him a story that makes sense and goes in a new backstory that just makes sense. This would be probably one of the most hypest games to be ever made by Sonic. Sonic Adventure 3, a highly anticipated game with a focal point of a character long forgotten but has a great fan base behind, Silver the Hedgehog. I'm cooking, bro. I'm cooking. Make it happen. Now my next recommendation, moving aside from the Silver game, it's more marketing promotion, but it goes into the movie industry. A lot of people think Silver is going to appear as a side character in the 4th Sonic movie. However, I believe this is not the correct choice of action. Now hear me out. Yes. We've seen that Metal Sonic and Amy are going to be focal points in the Sonic 4 movie. However, the Sonic movies have a great theme of introducing about 1 to 2 characters and leaving it at that. Introducing more characters may leave casuals confused and discombobulated and maybe overwhelmed. I think adding Silver into the mix, such a popular character by the fans, would definitely make it hype, but it also make it confusing for casuals and completely busting up the whole story. So here's what I think. They should save Silver for Sonic 5, because I don't know how long they're gonna be making these Sonic movies, but if they stop at 5, it should save Silver for the 5th movie. Tease him at the end of Sonic 4 post-credit scene, but make him in Sonic 5, because if you put Silver in the Sonic 4 movie, he's just gonna be shafted as a side character. He's never gonna get that spotlight he needs to grow, perform, and to get popularity like Shadow and Sonic. If he wants to get to that level, he's gotta make it his own. So I think they should treat the Sonic 5 movie more centered around Silver, similar to the way they did Shadow. They did Shadow justice, so give Silver some justice. Make Sonic 5 about Sonic 06. That story was great. I think fans will appreciate that version of the story, as well as Jim Carrey. He's not dead, but Eggman is dead in the Sonic 3 movie, so you can have a new villain. You're gonna have Metal Sonic as the villain in the Sonic 4 movie, but in the Sonic 5 movie, you can make Mephiles the villain. So that also ties hand in hand. But giving Silver, a lot of people want to make Sonic 6 movie. I don't even know if they're gonna go that far. As long as Silver is the main focal point of the movie and not a side character, we're cooking, we're eating. So make it happen, bro. Make it happen. Silver needs this movie, bro. He needs his promotion. He needs his revival in the fan base. If Sega wanted Silver to be in the same level as Shadow and Sonic, this is the only chance they get. If they don't put him in the movie, I think Silver won't have another chance like this again. So they gotta make it happen. And finally, my last point of recommendations. Obviously, a year of Silver would be great. Kind of like what they did with last year, 2024, Year of Shadow. It worked out perfectly. Marketing was on point. They had collabs with DC. Shadow got his own movie. A whole game came out with it. If they can make a Year of Silver, Sonic Adventure 3, Sonic 5 movie, that'd be a stacked year for Sega. They'd make a ton of profit. And Silver would even make his own profit, profiting off that, getting fans, giving popularity, getting all that stuff he deserves. So market the year around Silver. Give him like anime shorts like you did with Shadow on the YouTube TV joint. Give him some of that. Give him collabs. If Smash 6 is a thing, put Silver in that game, bro. That would give him so much more views, popularity. Cause yeah, bro, I'm trying to see Shadow, Silver, Sonic. I'm trying to see that trio and Smash, bro. If they make a Smash 6, put them in the game. But yeah, a year of Silver would be great. Get Silver back in the spotlight and give him the promotion he needs. Silver is set up to be on the same level as Shadow and Sonic. He was a prodigy, a forgotten prodigy. But with the right moves, the right recognition, the right time, right dedication, Silver can get back where he needs to be. He's been neglected for too long. It's time for the rise up. He's the Hedgehog that completes the trio. Past, present, future. He's the future. And the only way we can utilize the future is focus on the problems that we had in the past, learn from them, and grow. So, thank you for this case study. Thank you for watching the whole way if you did. Comment down below what you guys think about Silver, what you guys think he should be getting. You think if he should be in any new games, if he should be in a different movie, at Sonic 4, Sonic 5, predictions of Silver, what other recognition he should be getting. But yeah, man, I like Silver a lot. I like his character, I like his design, I like his abilities. Just doesn't get a lot of focus on. And I feel like bringing him to the limelight, allowing people to know more about him, giving him more recognition, is what's going to help him grow into the character he was meant to be. What's going to help the Prodigy become one of the greats. Thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
You're my friend, right?
You're still so naive. But I've always liked that about you.